And it's time to go live on another bicycle live stream on Sunday, September the 9th at 7:07 a.m. It's 17 degrees, that's hard to believe. It's warming up nicely. It's a beautiful spring morning. The rain that we've had during the week has cleared a bit. Well, it's cleared a lot. Well, it's cleared almost completely. And subsequently, I'm out on my bike ride, and Kayla and I will be heading for a day trip somewhere today because it's beautiful weather for it. So, and it's about time we got out and about. So thank you for joining me for this live stream, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it at a later stage. This morning's topic, Tanya, thank you for joining in. This morning's topic is titled Understanding but Not Condoning Violence. Love the sinner, not the sin. This theme follows on from some discussions that were on my page during the week in relation to a meme that I posted. And the meme was, stress is an internal reaction to an external situation or an external event. And this generated a little bit of tension almost, I guess, in some of the responses. And Cody, thank you for watching. And I thought what I'd like to do is tackle the subject of violence, because one of the themes that was coming up that was how to deal with a violent situation. Sam, thank you for watching. How to deal with a violent situation and how to accept it and how to feel towards the person, the perpetrator. This was coming up in some discussions, and I shared some wisdoms which were accepted by some people and not by others. So I'd like to take the opportunity to explain it a bit further. Tanya says, keep smiling and shining. Love and hugs. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. It's very nice. Beautiful. Thank you. And Anna Marie says, and Anna Marie is watching too. Thank you. That's as good as being told how much I was loved last night by someone who loves me a lot, which really made my day because it was a long day. Anyway, and you'll have to guess who that was. What I've noticed I noticed this a lot when I was a kid actually, but I didn't fully understand. So now, with the benefit of hindsight and wisdom and being able to connect with the heart, I've gained some insight into some of the peculiarities, if that would be the right adjective to use, in the way that we think and feel about other people. We are very subjective in how we accept or not accept other people, depending on whether we think they have been good to us or not. And the worst form of this, of course, is when we are met in a violent situation. We find ourselves in a violent situation, an aggressive situation, one which is out of control, one where the person is attacking us either physically or verbally, where it seems unreasonable, where we don't understand why the person would do this, where there seems to be no provocation. These sort of situations, we can probably think of examples of them, and in thinking of those examples, it would probably brings up not only the memories but the emotions connected with it. So what usually happens if we take a situation, what usually happens is that we tend to almost always form a judgment towards a person that we feel has mistreated us. And this judgment means we connect the two things together. We connect the action of the person with the quality of the person, of the quality of their character, with their worth. So we say, well, you were violent towards me, therefore you're a bad person. Now, from a vegan perspective, we can also say, well, you're violent towards the animals, therefore you're the scum of the earth, and, you know, you should die, sort of thing. So, and I certainly understand this. I've felt it many times myself, but I've also observed the great danger in hanging on to a thought like this, because a thought is energy. It's a form of energy that we are holding on to towards another person. It may be towards another organisation. I've also seen this a few times with my friends over the years, where they have so much self-hatred. I shouldn't say self-hatred. Hatred towards, you know, the government or the tax office or something like that. In extreme cases, people like this become so angry that they actually do a violent act themselves towards the thing that they hate, which is completely ironic, but and completely lost on most people. And I've experienced it myself. I've spent years in similar states of mind, holding on to negative, dark, aggressive, limiting energy. And this energy affects us. Do we really think, rather than it affecting the person or, say, the organisation, do we really think that if we hate an organisation, that the organisation feels it? It's just a term used as a collective towards a group of people working for some sort of business or organisation. Can they really feel it? Of course they can't, unless they themselves allow themselves to tap into their own fears. And that's sort of a different subject. So it is crucial, and I've spoken about this before, for us to understand why someone becomes violent and for us to forgive them without necessarily condoning the action. And it's crucial because it frees us. If we don't do it, we tie ourselves into a negative, destructive energy which affects our health, our relationships. It attracts more negativity towards us, and it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's not a good one. So it is essential, if we are to find happiness in our existence, that we come to a point of stillness and wisdom where we see somebody that did something terrible to us, say they raped us or they bashed us. I've been in a number of these situations. I've been held up at gunpoint. I've been mugged by 3 guys. I've been in other situations which I found extremely frightening at the time. And it took me a long time to understand that it's happening not because of me. It's happening because the other person is not at peace in themselves. And me judging them doesn't help me, and it doesn't actually help the other person either. The great wisdom that comes from this is when we love the sinner, not the sin. When we understand that the person that perpetrated violence towards us or towards anyone else is extremely lost, and their actions are reflecting that. Otherwise, they would not be perpetrating violence. A person that is at peace, a person that's on a spiritual path, is not a violent, aggressive person. They are the complete opposite of that. They have tapped into the peace in their heart, the compassion in their heart. They've tapped into the things that are naturally there with us at birth, and they reflect that in their outer actions. If somebody's actions towards you are aggressive or violent, straight away you can use a technique of, like a silent witness technique, of separating yourself from the actions of the person and step behind the scene and see why that, or see what's going on from a detached, that's the word I was looking for, from a detached perspective. And from that detached perspective, you start to develop a compassion towards the other person, an understanding and a compassion that this is a person that's hurting. This is a person that's carrying a lot of anger and a lot of sadness because they have not dealt with situations in themselves in a healthy, holistic way. And so that now is bubbling over, it's coming out to the surface, it's being projected almost as a form of release for them, or almost as a form of trying to solve the problem. Now, Tanya says it's extremely hard to sometimes keep things in perspective. Hate can be a sad, destructive, internal energy. Oh my gosh, you are so on point. Thank you for your loving understanding and thoughts. Wow. Oh, well, thank you, Tanya. Was there more to that? It says see more. Just click on the see more. Oh, it's all the little loves and hugs. Thank you, Tanya. Yes, this is a crucial understanding that if we don't, we have the choice that in the same way that the person that might be violent towards us has the choice to act that way towards us or not, we have always the choice in how we respond. In fact, nobody else chooses how we respond except ourselves. So there is the immense power from our learning and our experience to grow from that and to choose to respond in a way that is more healthy for all parties involved. Otherwise, if we don't grow and learn from that, then we're just basically just going through the motions, repeating the same pattern, and it's not helping us or anyone else. What I find sad is when I see people hanging on to and justifying their hatred, their anger, towards another person because they have judged that the person did them wrong. For a person to hang on to that anger puts that person in a place of no peace and drags towards them other destructive energy. So we have to be very, very careful what sort of energy we are hanging on to. And it is far wiser to step back into heart wisdom and to understand why someone would act that way towards us or anyone else. Why would someone be violent towards us? Why would they be violent towards their partner? Why would they be violent towards animals? We're not condoning by any means the actions of a person that has done this. We're not saying, I forgive you, therefore it's okay what you did. What we're saying is, I forgive you because I understand how much you are hurting and how lost you are, and you just want to feel the same thing that I want to feel and everyone else wants to feel. You just want to feel love. I forgive you. I don't condone your actions. I pray that I can show you a better way. Elle says, hello Elle. Sorry, I didn't see that comment come up. Hang on. And John says, sometimes hanging on becomes a form of self-harm. Spot on, John. Thank you. Another actually, it's justifiable self-harm, and it's a programming that we put in our mind. Some of us put it in at a very young age, and I sadly have seen time and time again people their whole life carry this with them, and it hurts my heart to see people live their life this way. It is such a waste of spirit. It's terrible. I mean, the universe wants us to be happy. The universe wants us to find happiness, And we have people hanging on to anger going, you did me wrong, therefore I'll never be happy. And it's a terrible way to live. We don't drink poison and expect the other person to die. It doesn't work that way. We drink the poison, we poison ourselves. So when we hang on to that negative energy, all we're doing is poisoning ourselves. Kimberly says, you were right, thank you for the reminder. Thanks, Kimberly, for acknowledging it. So for those that understand what I'm saying, that means you've already experienced the truth of this. In other words, you've connected with the universal wisdom in your heart, which acknowledges that what I'm talking about is true. That's how we recognize truth, because we already carry it, and when we hear it, it connects with that truth we're carrying, and we go, aha, yes, this is right, I knew this. Now I'm hearing it in words, it connects with what I knew in my heart, the feeling I had in my heart. So that is for those that already know it. For those that haven't yet sort of fully gone through this lesson or come to the understandings contained within this lesson, I hope that maybe you can dwell upon it. All I can ask is you can dwell upon it and learn a form of detachment. The biggest example, or the best example I've given many times before, is the detachment. Historical, whether you're religious or not, is irrelevant in my case, in this situation. The historical situation of Jesus on the cross. 99.9% of people in that situation would have been angry and bitter, because they would have been coming from a perspective of false ego and how dare you do this to me. Jesus was coming from a perspective of the heart, and he had detached from the situation, from the pain connected, and he said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That is the deepest wisdom there is. He could see why they were doing what they were doing. He could see how lost they were, and he asked for forgiveness for them. If we can reach anything even close to that, then indeed we will find the sort of peace that he was emanating. So that's the main things the main point I wanted to get across, is that we should take the time to separate the actions of the person from the person themselves, and understand that underneath it all, they are a perfect spirit soul, always unconditionally loved by the universe no matter what, and they have found themselves chasing shadows, chasing lies, and this has led them... Oh, there we go, we just disappeared for a second. So take that in and dwell upon it, and realise that it is essential, if we are to have peace in our own lives, to forgive, but not necessarily condone, those acts of violence towards us and others, and to develop stronger love towards everyone and compassion rather than judgment and hatred. So, thank you for joining me on my bike ride this morning, and hope you have a great day. Live vegan and save lives, and I'll speak to you soon. Ahimsa.